Hi, I'm Denny Brauer. And one thing I always do when I'm flipping and pitching is peg my slip sinker to the bait. I want it all together so that my slip sinker isn't falling over a branch or on one side of a clump of grass or whatever. It just makes it easier for me not only to maneuver the bait through the cover, but to feel and detect the strikes. And I'm also not getting those false indications if the sinker's moving around away from the bait. But let me show you exactly how I do it. A lot of people use a bobber stop, and there's nothing wrong with a bobber stop, but I'm going to show you why I don't use a bobber stop and why I use one of these rubber nails. Let me put my glasses on where I can see what I'm doing here. I slide the line through the slip sinker. Then I take one of these rubber nails and I go from the bottom side and I slide it up there snug, just like that, pull it fairly snug. And then I go ahead, I've got my line out of the road right there. I go ahead and snip it off. Now, I grab the front end of that and I pull it on up to where what I'm after is I just want to peg really the front half of the slip sinker. And that allows the line the freedom to center on the back side. Now I'll go and bend that line out of the way. And I'll cut that off so it's nice and clean in front. Now I got my slip sinker totally pegged. My line is centered on the back side. I can tie my hook on, put my soft plastic bait on, and then slide the slip sinker down against it. It'll slide back and forth just like that. Okay, why do I prefer this style over a peg? Well, here's what happens when you catch a fish. He shakes his head and up the line goes your slip sinker. If it's pegged, what can happen is that slip sinker can come slide right back down and act as almost like a plug knocker and knock the hook out of the fish's mouth because it's got the freedom, because your peg's up here, but it's not keeping your sinker there. Peg this way, when he shakes his head and it goes up the line, it's not going to come back down. And now all he has down here at his mouth is the hook. And it's hard just to throw that hook because there's no leverage of the weight there. So that's one of the biggest reasons I always peg by using a rubber nail rather than a bobber stopper. My way of doing it, whatever works for you is fine, but that's the reason I peg it that way.